you know, the word emotion kind of distorts everything, because like when you take the letter E and you equate that to the word feelings, you kind of mess up the motion of things. So remove the E and keep moving. That's what you do with
Spitting that E to the IMP. He's spitting that E to the IMP. He's spitting that E to the IMP. Ain't nothing but pimpin' these days. He's spitting that E to the IMP. He's spitting that E to the...
And welcome back to another episode of Elevator Dialogue here on the Uncle Junior Network. I am the Junior, and on the panel today we have none other than Antoine. I do not argue with women, Christopher. We have him, sexy self times, and we have Roland. I got the best beard, Walker. How y'all doing today, gentlemen?
Man, I'm all right. You know, I had to tighten it up before I came on.
Yeah, man, looking clean over there. Looking clean.
Blessed.
Yeah. Hey, before we get started, thank you all who have taken out the time out of your day to join us on today's episode of Elevator Dialogue. A shout out to all of you unks, nephews, and other people who support the show and the channel. Special shout out to all the servicemen. We salute you and thank you for your service. While you are here, feel free to join the chat, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you can be notified as soon as other videos drop. One of the things I want to start off with before we jump into the topic today is things that piss men off. Before I jump into it, I want to start off by just a simple icebreaker, and I want to start off with one question. The question is, if you could, we all have routines and stuff like that, do it every day that we do, whether it be brushing our teeth, combing our hair, taking a poop, whatever, different things like that. So what, if you could eliminate one thing from your daily routine, what would it be and why? And it don't matter who goes first. I just like to see if you could eliminate one thing from your daily routine, what would it be and why?
Man, I love doing everything I do. I'm trying to think. Jeez.
Got me on that one.
I don't know. For me, I'll be 50 next year, and getting up every day at 4:30 using the bathroom is killing me.
I wish I didn't have to sleep.
Yeah, it'll be me. Mine at the end of the day would be sleep.
Yeah.
Feel like
I think that's with me too, Uncle Junior, man. Just getting up, man. Not being able to get solid sleep all throughout the night. Getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning, use the bathroom.
Yep. REM, man. Rapid eye movement.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yep.
Hey, I'm gonna start the show off by saying this. Every man is different, and every man wants something different. So this is a moot point, so we're not gonna keep bringing it up. In order to have a conversation, you have to invoke a certain amount of generality in order for the listener to relate. The conversation is enhanced when we can, in addition to, add our experiences and lessons learned to the conversation. Men in general get pissed off, and we get pissed off at our women, at work, at our friends and families. Heck, we get pissed off if we can't figure out how our football team does stupid things on Saturday and Sunday. As men walk around through life, we're getting pissed. As men walk through life, where getting pissed off can be a detrimental and cost us if we act on it. Jails are full of men who got pissed off and then reacted. As we navigate this topic, I want to explore some of the different areas in our lives that cause us to get pissed off and how we should handle being pissed off on different situations, such as getting pissed off at our woman. If she does blah, 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 and it pisses you off, what do? Maybe we're on our job and the boss like, hey, he's not willing to work around you and your schedule that you have, with your family life. You may get pissed off. We get pissed off at our relatives. There's always some drama or something going on with family too. So I want to go around the horn and just start off with anybody, whoever want to dive on this grenade first, and start off by saying, hey, what pisses you off? or men. You don't want to make it too personal. Yeah.
Well, I'll start off if y'all want me to, and that's it just for me. And I'll start off from a relationship perspective. If I'm in a relationship, and because what people have to understand, relationships, everything ain't always gonna be peachy. You're gonna have those days where it's rocky. But if I have something that's upsetting me, I need my partner to listen to me, and not listening to respond, but listen to understand, get a full understanding of why I'm feeling this way, and want to work collectively with me to try to, to be that mate that I need her to be, to help find a solution, to help me with what has upset me, and not try to say one thing that I said, well, the reason why I did this is because you did this, you know what I'm saying? And we trying to one up each other. And I feel like you never get anywhere doing that. So one of the things that I would say upset me is I just would really like to have in my partner that they care about what upsets me. They really want to get an understanding of it and have an open mind to be like, what can I do? What can I do from my perspective to prevent this from happening again? And we work together, So that's one of the things that upsets me.
Oh, I got one like that. Yeah. Yeah, I got one like that. If I was in a relationship, I would say what pisses me off and gets me really upset is that if we make up for an argument and it's done, it's over, we healed it, we squashed it, and you bring that shit up again for something that has no relevance, but you're using what happened in that argument to bring a point to this argument. Oh boy, that's a level of pistosity that you're gonna have to leave the room. Yeah. Oh yeah. Or if I'm doing my art and you're giving me hell or you're giving me shit because I ain't texting you back, I love you shit. Like stuff like that. Like I'm focused, I'm doing my thing. I don't need to hear from you. I don't need to see from you. I don't need no coffee. I don't need nothing. I just need you to do one thing. Don't knock on the door. Don't close it. Just leave me alone. Let me do my thing. I'll come out when I want to see you. Trust me. It's good. That's a level of pistosity, boy. I tell you. Yep. That's for me. That's relationship wise. Yeah.
Relationship. Okay.
Man, relationship. That's a few books. That's a Encyclopedia Britannica right there.
Documentary.
Yeah. But I think when it comes to relationships, one of the things that disturbs me is when, as a man, if I say, this is what I want, and you in turn give me what you want me to have. That's not what I asked. And then say I'm ungrateful because I don't want whatever you gave. No, it's not that I told you what I wanted, but you gave me what you wanted me to have. Instead of actually doing, you thought you knew me better than me. And instead of just listening to what I said. Because, women always say men don't listen. I think we listen to, in order to act on our response, not to just react.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think men may at times take a little bit more extra time and a little bit more thought that goes into it before they respond, because we know that what we say can and will be used against us.
Yes.
We say that stuff's going to come back up later at another argument. Something may have no relevance to what we're talking about in the moment. I would say one of the things that kind of pisses me off is kind of just not being heard. You know what I mean? It's like you say something, you have a conversation, and then you ask a question, and you're like, huh? And it's like, were you paying attention to anything that I was saying? And so now I got to go back, have another conversation, and then next time I may not choose to have the conversation anymore because I feel like you may not be there. You know what I mean? Or I may be trying to talk or have a conversation, and you may not be in there. So real quick, I see Chris is backstage. I'm going to bring him up. Quick, stand by. This is Chris, the perils of simply being me, McClellan. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing today?
I'm well. How are you? What's going on, fellas?
What's going on?
Hey, since you're here, you just popped up, go on and dive on it. What pisses Chris off? what pisses men off if you do not want to make it too personal. It don't have to be relationships, but it can be.
I think Antoine might have brought this up, but I'm going to reiterate. When we squash something and you bring it up later on because you feel like you need to hold it over my head, we squashed it. Why are you bringing it up? You already said this was done. This was over with. This is water under a bridge. Why are you bringing this up again? The fact that you want to bring this up when I bring something, and another thing, when I bring something to you and you view it as an attack and you immediately go in defense mode instead of saying, let me think about this because this man is actually bringing something to me that's bothering him. Let me see if I can correct the behavior so that way it doesn't bother him again. No, you want to go, oh, well, you did this and try to make what I did worse than what I'm talking about that is bothering me. That pisses me off.
That's all the stuff that piss y'all off.
No, that ain't all. Now, go ahead.
No, Rogo, you go.
I think it all boils down to just flat out not being heard. You understand what I'm saying? Like not being heard and not being listened to actually understand where we're coming from. I think that's what pisses a lot of fellas off. And that goes all the way around. It doesn't have to be just in relationships. It could be work. It could be family. It could be the person it could be your boys. It could be all of that. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? If as men, we're taught to not even feel in the first place. So if we bring something to you that we're feeling, then it's valid. You understand what I'm saying? It's valid. So maybe you should listen because what we're bringing to you is valid because we're not supposed to even be thinking about bringing anything to you anyway. Because as what mainstream media would give the perception, we're not allowed to have feelings at all. So if I say something and it's bothering me and in my gut, I know it's bothering me and I need to say something, maybe you need to take the time out to say, all right, this motherfucker actually said something. If he says something, it must be bothering him. And just go from there.
I agree with him too, man, because it's already a challenge for us to be vulnerable anyway and express any of our feelings anyway, because you're actually taking a chance at any time being vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Can you believe his weak butt crying about this or, things of that nature.
Are you sorry?
See, but I think it's switched up now. Because I think these younger dudes they didn't come up like us. So it's okay to cry. And I ain't got no problem with crying and stuff. But there's certain things that men shouldn't cry about. Fix it. Get up. Wash it up. You shouldn't cry because you fail. You shouldn't cry because something happened. You cry when you're emotional. And you shouldn't be emotional. I think what they did, they turned everything around. And society is loving the fact when men can act more like women, and that's what I hate. It pisses me off.
Boy, they feminize society, man. It's that men being feminized like crazy, and you can just look at it for what you see on TV. And I guess I don't need to touch a certain subject because that probably can get me shut down.
But wouldn't you say that? You see, I don't believe men are being feminized because no one can control what other men do, and no one can control what you don't want to do unless you want to do it, right? So you have control over your own emotions. You have control over your own destiny. All right.
The influence, Anton.
What was that?
Influence.
No, I don't believe in influence. No one can influence me to do anything. I don't care who you are. You can't influence me.
You're one person, Anton. Everybody will have your mentality.
Yeah, but I think if a man is raised the right way, which I don't think they are with all these baby mamas floating around, if they're not raised the right way, right, they're subject to have that mindset of that feminine mindset.
Well, once you say raised, though, that's a level of influence. Somebody's influence.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If a man is raised, I'm talking about coming from when I was growing up, there was no YouTube, there was no nothing, right? I had to seek out my mentors. I couldn't flick on the computer and see somebody that I could talk to and relate to across the world that could help me, right? So I had to seek out my own mentors. Fortunately for me, I had both parents in the household, which I'm to this day grateful for. But that being said, I think the men that are being raised today are more pussified because of the women raising them. They're not raised with a masculine in the house to give you one of these if you're really acting up and you're not going to school, right? Because at the end of the day, your mom can't put you on the bed and hold you down and put that masculine force over you, right? So you're being raised without that solid figure that scares the shit out of you to make you do right. Now, I'm coming from a part that if you do have a mentor, you do have the people around you surrounding you, giving you the guidance you need, no one can influence you to do anything. If I want to cry, I'm going to cry. And I have the people around me that understand, oh, Antoine's getting emotional about a certain thing. They don't judge me. They go, he's doing his thing. Those are solid people that I have around me, right? And I believe if you have a solid person or a solid surrounding, what's the problem? What's the problem? I think no one can make you do anything. No one. Unless, they can't. Right?
Antoine,
if you're a man, you hold your ground.
That's a big, Antoine, that's a big if. That's a really, really
that's what I said. If was a fifth.
If they have the influence around them. If they have a man, they said if. I get what you're saying because what you're saying is valid. If you have that influence around you, then it's okay for you to be vulnerable. But a lot of men don't have that, and it just now recently became cool for men to have that. This is why you're starting to see more men talk. But the more you see men talk, the more you see people.
How old are we talking?
What?
How old are we talking?
Let me finish my point.
Okay.
The more this is why you're starting to see more men talk. This is why you're starting to see more men talk, because it's cool now. It's okay for us to actually voice our opinions. But when we voice our opinions, it's viewed as an attack instead of this is what I'm going through. My experience is valid, just like your experience is valid. Let's work this shit out.
How old are we talking here? How old?
How old?
Yeah, how old are you saying men? How old are the guys? Are we talking 50, 60? Are we talking 20? Are we talking 18?
I'm talking men on a general scale. I'm not putting an age on it. I'm talking men on a general scale. Men on a general scale are just now okay. Men on a general scale just now found out that it's okay for us to talk. That's why you see panels like this. We talking.
Shit,
so like I already see you guys.
Hold on. Hey, welcome to the show. I'm gonna welcome you to the show real quick. Welcome to the show, Victor. If you are not on the reservation, get out. That's an inside joke. And Brandon, recharging dreams, creating new realities. Jeter. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Vic, go ahead with your point.
Okay, so I saw that.
I heard from you, Brandon.
Oh, I just saw where Chris and Antoine were having a discussion about something. And I like, you know how sometimes people just jump in and just start talking. I would like for somebody to ask me the question that Chris was trying to explain. You know what I'm saying? If somebody can kind of just bring me up to speed, if that's the case.
I didn't ask the question.
What were you trying to get answered, Antoine?
You muted.
The question was what pisses you off, and then we had what influence you, like people that influence you can influence you not to do this, not to do that. Like what are you raised around that you get influenced? And I'm like, well, no one can influence me to do anything because I'm not doing anything I want to do. I do what I want to do. I'm in control of me. And I think like when you say, if you're young, you get influenced. Up to a certain age, it's like, okay, seriously, pull your pants up. Like, what are you talking about?
Did somebody influence you to have that mentality that you have right now?
Yeah, like I said, for me, I was fortunate enough to have a 2-parent household. I'm saying when I was coming up, the guys that didn't have a father in the house, they would look for other mentors. My dad was a mentor to a lot of people that didn't have a father. My uncle, my brothers that are older than me. I'm just saying, like, we have to seek out to get that leadership, that manhood shit, right? We have to seek out to find it. I'm just saying I didn't have YouTube to flick on a switch and listen to some guy across the world give me some life course advice on my own life. I'm just saying if you're missing it in your life, it's your responsibility to seek out and go and get it. right? And I think the more these men are raised by these baby mamas, they become pussified because the only thing they know is a feminine environment. They don't have that masculine environment to give them one of these.
But I
So
think we go ahead, Ray.
I'm trying to find out. Like, I know I'm late to the discussion, but like I see that there's like an impasse. So Chris, what were you trying to explain?
I was simply saying that it's just not okay for men to talk about what pisses us off, and the pushback that we're getting while we talk about what pisses us off from the people that are doing the things that are pissing us off. That's what I was trying to explain. It just now became cool to talk about that. You understand what I'm saying? Like on a general scale.
Yep.
This is why you see platforms like this where we can sit and talk about man stuff. You understand what I'm saying? I get what Antoine is saying. If you don't have it in your life, you're supposed to seek it out. But, and I'm going to speak as a product of a baby mama. I had to get away from my mama to actually understand that I needed that in the first place. And that's now just that just now became cool. You understand what I'm saying? For us to actually move away from our moms, even though we love them to death and we would die for them. Okay, you got me here, but I understand that the way you raised me got me here. But there are other things that I need that you can't give me. And it ain't because I don't love you. It's because you're just not equipped to give it to me. That's just now became cool. Exactly. It just now became cool for men to do that. And the fact that men are doing that is for some dumbass reason viewed as disrespect to our mamas. And that's not the case. We love our mamas. Our mamas made the choice to bring us in here. There's nothing that can compare to that. However, you can't teach me how to be a man. Get out of the way. Let me go find somebody that can help me do it. I still love you, but move.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that's pissing us off. The fact that when we go to try to find out what it is to be men, when we go to trying to figure out what that other piece of the parental puzzle was, we get viewed as being disrespectful to the woman that raised us because she's mama. That's another thing that pisses us off. And that's me speaking as a product of a single mom home. I catch that flack every day. You understand what I'm saying?
And I feel you, Chris. And I think a lot of that pissed offness, if that could be a word, comes from
it's a word now. All things are true.
That comes from I think we take the responsibility away from those weak men that shun their responsibilities to do the raising, and then the mother had to step up, so she did what she could, and true enough, a man was needed. But that sorry dude that didn't step up has to be held accountable. We can't just say, okay, well, these women, they trying to do this, women, they trying to do that. And I'm all men. And I think but I hold men to a higher standard, a higher regard, because when it comes to the household, it's his responsibility. So I was always taught, if a kid can't read because the lights are off, it's the man's responsibility. If he can't read because he's just dumb, it's the mama's responsibility. That's how I was raised. Now, when it comes to influence, when I first started school, college, I was into marketing. That's why they got all these commercials. That's why they got these radio things. That's why they got all these billboards and stuff. It's a level of influence. You influence every time you step outside your door, every time you turn something on. So it's not just whether that man in your house or down the street is upstanding. It's everything you see. Like, man, this is somebody I can emulate. This is something I can ascribe to. Whatever it is in life, not just in your family matters also.
And Vic, that's where the conversation that went left. Because then Anton said that I said it's about influence, and then he didn't agree, and then that's how it got deep.
Okay, so like we all caught up. So like here's the thing: influence is ever present. Like, how many of y'all got an iPhone and had an Android? You know what I'm saying? Or either phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, if you switched, it was about compatibility and functionality and practicality. All of us adapt. All of us understand that we can only have what we can afford. You know what I'm saying? And they ain't got nothing to do with money. I say that on a regular basis. So if Chris is raised in a situation where he hasn't had valid representation of somebody that he can emulate, he doesn't know what he doesn't know. Okay, like if you ain't never seen a spoon and I put a spoon in front of you and you sit there and starve, and you got a bowl of cereal in front of you and you never use the spoon, and if I never show you that it's a utensil or tool for you to eat with, you'll say that I did you a disservice. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what Chris is saying is absolutely valid. You cannot imagine or recreate something that you've never had a representation of. You know, that's why in life you spend a lot of time chasing dreams. That's why the whole point of chasing dreams is about going after something that you've already visualized. You can only dream about something after a seed has been planted. You know, if you never had a seed planted, what are you going in the garden for? You don't even know you got a garden if you don't ever have a seed planted.
Experience the best teacher.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I say pain, embarrassment, being uncomfortable. Those situations come from when you are trying to accomplish something or attain a certain level of knowledge and you experience rejection and misunderstanding along the way. Men get that first in life, the most, at a higher volume than anything. If he's never met a man that can impart that conversation on him, he can't instinctively register that masculine part of him that says, I got to go seek a mentor. I got to go seek somebody that knows more than I do. I got to go seek somebody that I can learn from, that I can be coached and mentored by, somebody that I can respect. If you're raised in a household with that, there's a luxury to that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking from my own personal experience. I grew up in the hood, but I had a 2-parent household. You know what I'm saying? And my household was so normal. Thanks, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my mom and my dad, you know what I'm saying? Rest his soul. But they held it down. They didn't give us anything to deviate from. There was structure. There was all of this. You know what I'm saying? It was, you're not playing video games until the weekend. You're doing this. And you know what I'm saying? You got certain levels of accountability and reference points that you're being held to a standard by. If you don't see the representation in that, you're going to have a diluted value of people that you don't have any experience with. That's why you can look at TV and you can see how racial lines are divided, and there's a whole group of people that don't care about this group of people. This group of people feels disenfranchised because we don't share those personal experiences. And on one level, it's inhumane depending on how it goes. But the reality is it's just a boundary. There's a bunch of stuff that we do individually that the other person will never do and think that they have a qualified opinion on. Chris is speaking from an authentic place. So there's nothing that a person can tell him that can take away his authentic experience as a man who has yet to interact with certain men of certain status that he can actually learn from. You know what I'm saying? It's not in you to just wake up like that. Somebody has to show it to you. That's why imagery is so important. That's why we say the person that you with, that you spend your time, who reflects your accountability, your energy and all that stuff, they're a reflection of what you have to offer. So if you've never been shown that, how you gonna find your reflection?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, Brandon, again, man. Definitely want to hear from you. You can continue on with this conversation, or you can jump back to the question of the night. What pisses men off or what ticks men off. Hold on, you muted.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for having me on board, and this has definitely been an elevated dialogue so far. And just I'm just trying to drink it all in from everyone's perspective. And when it comes to stuff that pisses me off is being misunderstood. I would say that's across the board from any guy, especially when you're coming from a place of logic. That would be
Oh man.
went to my desktop. But um, yeah, when you're being misunderstood, when you have all the logic, you have the science, you have you got all the empirical data, and you're still being misunderstood. That's I think that the thing that pisses me off. I like what Victor was saying about influence in regards to, we are often a product of our environments. And so um, it doesn't mean you have to be that doesn't mean you have to be exactly like your environment, but we do learn, we absorb through our environments, and so structure is key. I grew up in a single parent home as well. Um, there was a lot of things my mom did that I didn't understand, but she was doing the best she could to get me to be a man. She put me around real men, men who took
Yep.
care of their families, people who had good jobs and had good careers, education to give me that model because I think my mom truly understood that she was limited. I'm not sure when she made that discovery, but I've always been attracted to leadership. I'm a Cosby Show kid. I was born in '79. So when I saw the Cosby Show, even though I grew up in a single parent home, you know, I I knew I wanted a wife, kids, all in the same house. I knew I wanted to be successful. I wanted to marry someone who was successful, and you know, I knew that's what I wanted, even though I wasn't experiencing that. You know, the Cosby Show for what it was in the '80s, that was like my uh, like Victor was saying, that was my dream. That was my dream world. That was my escape from where I was living, and I just believed that was possible. Did I become a doctor? No. Did I marry a lawyer? No. Uh, did I have 5 kids that did all kind of crazy stuff? No, but I did see a way out. So yeah, appreciate that, and just glad to be here.
Now I'm a Cosby. I grew up in that generation too. I'm a little older than you, but watching that show, it did make me want the family structure. But what I didn't have is a model around me. I had more models that weren't like that because my mother was a crackhead, my father was a heroin addict, and that's all I was around. So, and my father, he was a player, had kids everywhere. So I wanted that picture. But what I saw around me was more of that was in me. So I wanted to play the field. I'm up here sticking and moving. I'm doing this, that, and the other. So I didn't know how to be the man that I saw on TV. I seen it on TV, but I didn't have a diagram. And it wasn't until later after I joined the military and I met someone who actually walked with me and, showed me. Because if you don't know the purpose for something, you will abuse it.
Right.
So whether it's women, you have spouse abuse. Men, you have spouse abuse, drug abuse, whatever that is. So you have to have somebody to walk you through this thing. And I think that's why we're here, because we've seen the mistakes that we've made. And now we're saying, man, I don't want this younger generation to keep on bumping their head like I had to bump my head.
Yeah. It's like they say, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, you feed him for life. You know what I'm saying? So, that's kind of how I look at it. And I agree with it.
I was thinking about one of the things that pissed me off, and that's when women play the guessing game. There was a video or something going around lately. One of the twins, Tia and Tamara, whatever. I guess someone says, I guess her husband, she's divorcing her husband, and he feels like he's blindsided. And then I seen in some of the comments when we were talking about, well, he should have seen the signs, and I'm sure the signs were there and stuff like this. And my rebuttal to that is, why are there signs? Why is whatever is the issue? Why is it not clearly communicated to that man, whatever the problem is? I've been in past relationships where they want you to play this. Women want you to play this guessing game and trying to figure out, what they mean or what they want. And men are like, look, just tell me, just make it simple. And I think that's where, there's a communication piece that needs to get figured out with each couple, as they progress through the relationship, but I would say for me, that's one of the things that, that pissed me off is that whole guessing game. Like, I don't want to guess. Like, it takes too much work, especially if you already know exactly what you want. Who want to hear on that one?
I hadn't talked about what pisses me off yet.
Oh yeah, let's do it. I'm waiting on this.
Yeah, you got that shit, right? Let's go.
Mike.
I'm just scribbling. I'm scribbling and catching up, man.
But I know it pisses you off when you have squatters in your properties. You know that.
Yeah, and I know it pisses you off when women see you with a girl and they tell you that you hate women.
Bruh, like, man, like, go down the list, like, I find those things to be extremely delusional. And all of that, because like you can go down the rabbit hole, you can come up with a bunch of different things, right? I always try to capture it from a 30,000 foot view. And I was sitting up here just scribbling, and I was like, intellectual disregard, because that captures what Brandon was talking about, having empirical data, showing people, history, economics to support whatever it is you're saying. Then you could show data from a socio-political, level, just tiers of it, right? And then when you start getting into personalized experiences, like what Chris was talking about, and having an authentic experience. So at that point, you got 3 different variables to consider before you even, then you realize how many things you don't know, right? So intellectual disregard fits into when it comes down to like communicating your leadership, functioning on need to know, functioning on, like how to compartmentalize information, because you already have the vision, right? And if you got a woman that's not paying attention to the way that you move and not realizing that you brought her into your space, and then you bring her into your space and she questions your moves on the plan that you came in with, they don't see how that's intellectual disregard. Like, why would I bring you into my space to fail you? You know what I'm saying? But there's a variable in there that if you're dealing with somebody that came out of survival mode, you're going to wind up, if you don't set certain boundaries, that person is going to function off of a very, very conservative scarcity mindset.
Vic, I got to jump in with you, Vic, because because you're saying some stuff, and I'm looking at it like you're coming from a person that, to me, that seems like, okay, I am in control of everything. So you coming from another whole person, and you sitting up there saying, if I'm bringing you in my space and you supposed to follow my lead and all this other stuff. But I think just like when it comes to communication, we learned that there are barriers to communication. So if you didn't communicate that to her, so she just supposed to blindly just follow, I don't think it's going to work. And when it comes to Tia and Tamara, nobody gets divorced overnight just because there had to be some signs.
I mean, there's always an accountability conversation that goes in the weeds, but if you ain't there personally, it don't really matter to discuss that piece.
Right.
What I'm talking about is that if you, as a man, have communicated and reassured the person that you've been transparent with about what your individual plans are and where they fit, and at some point in there, there's ups and downs, ebbs and flows, and your own plan individually. But even in the low moments, you should be questioning the person that you already co-signed with,
right?
Especially if they're being consistent, if they're being the same person they being, like they didn't end up on drugs, doing something irresponsible or reckless, getting DUIs and jeopardizing the quality of life in the household. You still got to trust the course. How many people up here are vets? I know, 1, 2, 3, like, every day at the unit ain't a good day. Right. Every day downrange ain't a good day. But if you come in with your commander's priorities, intelligence requirements, whatever the command philosophy is, you can distinguish a good day from a successful day, right? You can distinguish a bad day from a day that didn't produce any fruit because you got a baseline. That's up to the man to come in and establish that. And I'm saying this from a healthy relationship outlook. I'm not talking about dudes that come in broken and and they need therapy, but they get women. We're not talking about them. We're talking about assertive men that have the ability to exact their influence, lead, coach, train, and mentor. We ain't talking about the ones that need a level of personal development so they can hear what we're talking about. This content here is just to document what it looks like when you can understand it, implement it, and actually apply it to what you do every day. So when I'm talking about intellectual disregard, think about everything I just said, the whole picture I just covered. Why would you doubt somebody that speaks like that if they have the resources to say what they're saying?
Let let me chime in on that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Roland. I think Roland was talking about a person coming into a woman connecting with a man that is like the man you're talking about, Victor. But they got experiences, they got setbacks, they have disappointments, they got trust issues. I mean, bottom line, they haven't learned how to trust anyone like that. People who have given that persona, that was always for an ulterior motive. That was just to gain the trust to get whatever they wanted from this woman. So, uh, if someone comes from that situation, I think it does take longer to trust, not because the man has a bad example. It's just they got to overcome what they've been programmed and have experienced.
Okay, Brandon, let me speak on that. That's exactly where I'm coming from. I'm saying don't get with a woman if you ain't a man yet. You get with a woman when you have your shit together and your marbles are all in alignment. Okay, you build, you have it. People want a dime costs. People want a certain lifestyle, it costs. If you're gonna bring that into your household, like Vic was saying, you have to have A, B, and C together.
Yeah.
All right. That way, when you have A, B, and C together, you could lead. But don't bring a woman into your mess. And if you're a mess, keep her out, because there's nothing she can do for you, because you're just gonna be butting heads, right? So you have to know, you have to say, hey, listen, this is my lifestyle, this is what I do. I'm not going to cry about rent. I'm not going to cry about my mortgage, because that's called life and paying bills, right? I'm not going to argue with you about that stuff, because I need a roof over my head and you need to get to work. That's exactly what we're talking about. Men need to become men. And when they become men, then talk to me about a woman. But don't
Right.
talk to me about a woman following your lead when you ain't got shit to lead with. That's what I'm talking about.
Now, Anton, I agree. You have
Absolutely.
no debate for me on that one.
Hey,
Absolutely, but I'm talking about
I agree.
like the man that Antoine's talking about, the man that Victor's talking about. Yeah, thumbs up on that. But I'm talking about the woman that's coming in who has trust issues. Like, she's never seen that before, and she's walking on eggshell because of past experiences.
Why would you
what
get
is
with a
that?
woman like that? Where are you coming from? Why would you get with a woman
But-
like that?
but
That's
Anton, come on now, let's not act like that don't happen.
But why would you get with a woman like that?
Anton, sometimes
No, she is breaking.
no, everything is a choice.
Wait,
I do understand.
everything is a choice. She is breaking the way you are molded and the way you built. Why would you bring chaos into your?
Because Anton, and I'm just gonna put it out here. Let me say this, and I'm just saying this from a black male perspective. Dude, we supposed to be the leaders.
Right.
We're supposed to be the healers.
So why are you bringing her into your life?
We go in there, that woman, I agree with you to a certain extent. But if these women have this trauma, dude, and I ain't saying from a Captain Save 'em perspective, but that's our duty to go in. That's our role as men.
No, it's not your duty to pick up somebody's
It is.
No, it's not your duty to pick up somebody's garbage.
I'm
We can't pick up garbage, but to help heal, to help them learn how to love again, that what you went through can be a better life. Come on, man.
I ain't bringing
Who's gonna help them with it? If I don't, and I'm just gonna say I'm speaking to the black women right now. If I don't go in there and show them that love that they do, who gonna do it?
And
What are you
wait a
talking
minute.
about?
Antoine.
Show them love? What are you
Antoine.
talking? She's a grown-ass woman.
Right, but
Get herself healed.
But who's gonna be who's the leader? I understand.
That's why you take out the garbage. You're the leader. If she's coming into your world,
But you know what? Her heart and her feelings are my best interests.
yeah. But if she's coming in fucked up with those heart and feelings, why are you bringing her in? What are you
but
doing?
Antoine, when you meet somebody,
What are you
you meeting their representative. You don't automatically know all her garbage.
That's what
You
I'm
don't
gonna
know?
get. That's why I'm gonna vet her really good.
Right. But in the vetting system, feelings are being established and all
Ain't
that other
nothing
stuff.
being established till I see that you're in alignment with me, because
So
I got
that's-
my shit together.
So if that's the case, then you're coming in hurt. You're coming in
nothing.
damaged.
I'm coming in
Because
prepared.
You're thinking perfect.
always looking
People are not perfect.
It doesn't have to be perfect, but if she has issues she's going through, why would you want to entertain those issues? Why would you
Everybody
want
has
to?
issues.
Well, how would you want somebody to treat you if you had an issue?
And
I would
sometimes
be looking for a woman if I had an issue.
But she may not know she has the issues.
That's what I'm saying. So you have to vet her really good. But if you know that your vetting is becoming psychologically, dude, why are you struggling? You don't think there's other fishes in the sea that swim a lot better? Like you have to really get this.
I want to hear what Big got to say.
You have to really get this one that's messed up in the head. Like you can't say, you know what, baby? I get it.
That's all.
You're not in alignment with me. I get it. You need issues you need to work on. I get it. When you're finished with that and you see that therapist, I might be waiting here.
You
but
ain't
I'm
taking
not
the
here
time
to
at the
counsel
Skyline,
you for
though.
Who gonna be a teammate with her while they seeing that therapist?
because she's coming in whole. She's not coming in half. I'm not going for somebody. I might as well go and date an alcoholic. Let me bring her into my world to heal her. What are you, stupid? No, you drink. You over drink. You and me are done. What are you talking about? I'm not bringing chaos into my life. I'm elevating you. I got my shit together. The only thing we're gonna argue about is where to eat. But I know my shit.
You're saying a lot of Anton.
Yeah, because
But when it's a relationship, we need to speak French.
But I'm gonna vet her first. I'm gonna vet her first before it's a relationship. I'm not gonna bring chaos into my life. I'm gonna vet her first. I got A, B, and C together. I pay a mortgage. I have my house. I can buy you a car. I got my shit together.
All you saying is all I hear is
Yeah, because exactly. Because
go
she's
ahead.
my world. I'm leading it. She's coming into my. I ain't going into her. She's coming into mine. I'm leading it. You want me to lead you? Then get your marbles together. You guys are acting like all these women are like you have to heal them. No. Bitch, go get yourself healed. Then come back to me. What are you talking about? Why would I pick up a broken cup?
Because you could be a broken cup.
No,
you would want somebody to pick you up.
But I know I'm not because I have enough sense to know I'm not. What are you talking about? I have enough sense to know I'm not. If I have issues with her, she's going to tell me what's wrong. I'm going to go, what? Oh, okay, let's argue about the normal stuff. But the stuff that you bring into a relationship when both parties are coming from a healed place, that's what you build with. But if you know you're coming in trying to fix her, man, get the hell out of here. I ain't fixing her.
Trying to fix, but we all have problems in life. But go ahead, Vic. Been waiting forever, Uncle Junior. And I don't want to talk over.
You guys.
Go ahead, Vic. What you got?
Hey, I would like the opportunity to speak uninterrupted, if that's okay with Antoine. So here's the thing. We all come with our own issues. We are not perfect when we get there. We are investing in one another so we can improve. We're not working alongside of a coworker to just accomplish menial tasks to say, yay, we work well together. It's partnership, it's teamwork. You got to treat the currency of a relationship like the stock market. You have ups and downs. You know what I'm saying? Some be some days where both y'all can't agree on nothing. You're going to be up. She going to be up. She might be down. You might be up. You know what I'm saying? There's always some offsets. And in those low moments, you can't make their low moments about you. It takes a degree of emotional intelligence to understand where you supposed to be in a relationship support-wise. Like, for instance, we talked about, like this was mentioned about leadership. This is how we got spun off, right? So accountable masculinity rule number 3 says decentralized leadership requires knowing when to lead and when to follow. We must avoid misrepresenting fellow men. We are not perfect, but we must have redeeming efforts. The point being is that you submit to the fact that you don't know it all. You don't have it all, and you probably can benefit by somebody else's eyes. Doesn't mean that you're not capable, you're not put together, but men thrive on efficiency. It's like a society thrives on efficiency. Everybody's got a cell phone right now. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's dialing on the house phone. Nobody got to run all the way back home to make a personal call. Every day, we try to find a more efficient way to do the thing that we have to do every day. So if you come into a situation thinking that she completely has to capitulate to everything you got without understanding what her start point is and having the resources to mold an environment that she can learn in and see your consistency, have examples of it, have metrics. Basically, a man got to be able to show his work in order to establish trust with a woman. Because a man comes into a situation has to make assurances. He can't come in halfway saying, hey, I'm, you know, like I'm broke. I got this, you know, I got all. A man can't list his deficiencies before he meets a woman and thinks that that's a good deal for her. You know what I'm saying? But a man should be in a position to consider somebody else doesn't come as complete as they do in certain areas and be able to augment that. People trade something to be in the position that they're in. Meaning, like if you got some women that are deemed as, you know, ultra masculine, that's super responsible and accountable and been raising kids with or without a man involved, or a consistent male parent figure or whatever.
Kenya, shut the hell
She
up.
gotta. I'm still speaking. Hold up. She had to trade something to be adequate and to be a leader in her household on behalf of the children that she was responsible for. If she was accountable, you ain't gonna get it all. You know what I'm saying? Just like you ain't gonna meet vets that write Hallmark cards after they done seen people get blown up, shredded. You know what I'm saying? Folks come back and lose something. So there's a part of us that we trade, you know what I'm saying, in order to be rational every day, in order to make sense of other people's emotions. But the only way you know that is you got to have some empathy, bro.
Yeah, you have empathy. I admit you have empathy. Okay.
I have to interject because I'm going to get ready to go to church.
I'm not saying you don't have empathy.
So I'm going to get ready to go to church. But I like the comment when you said, Kenya, shut the hell up. She's a close friend of mine, and she's supporting this podcast.
Keep her comments, my name out of her mouth.
Come on, Anton.
I'll keep her name out of my mouth.
Well, this is grown man stuff, but Martin, I don't want to ruin anything. I'm going to get ready to go to church, Uncle Junior. This is one thing that's unacceptable, Anton. And I'm going to say that before I go. Y'all guys take care.
And if she's a mature woman, tell her respond like a mature woman. That's all. That's all I'm saying. And let me tell you something. You guys are talking like these women. I'm not talking about a broken cup. I'm talking about if a woman's healed, you're healed, you get together. If she's broken, I am not dealing with you. Why would a healthy man want to put himself in a
let me defend. I want to defend. I want to defend. You know what I'm saying? The logic that's here. You know, and in order to do that, what do we normally do? We establish baseline with definitions, right? And metrics and experience. That's what we do on this panel to avoid having, you know, like unilateral opinions that take away people's authentic experience. So I'm going to ask a question. How many men up here have been married? How many people up here in a committed relationship? How many people take care of somebody else every day? Who do you take care of, Antoine, other than you?
I take care of a neighbor.
Okay. How many people have children? How many people here lead organizations? Keep your hand up until otherwise. How many people here lead organizations where other people depend on them?
Oh, well, if you does the school count? Does classroom count?
If you have to ask, it don't count. That's ultimately my point, is that you are not considering a vast degree of different people's experiences. You know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't learn the same way, doesn't respond the same way, doesn't take criticism the same way, doesn't tell you the truth the same way. It's just too many different variables in it. So like to assume that everybody has to ultimately fall in line with you based on, I don't know, your own personal experiences, and you have an inability to articulate that, you're going to get a lot of blowback, because there's a lot of tact that comes in leadership. And it's evident because people try to figure out the nice way to say the right thing. And I get that you want to be direct, but you also have to be tactful enough to establish trust.
You can't make bad but Vic, you can't make bad news talking.
Antoine, I'm still talking. So what I'm saying is that we are trying to mentor another audience of men. So watching, you know, like men watching one man bicker with another group of men that have tangible experience, that all agree on some degree about what it takes in order to set conditions for a successful relationship, a successful partnership, and actually be meaningful participation in a relationship. We have an experience that you cannot speak from.
But okay, and I take that. But I'm just saying that you only get into a relationship when someone's healed and they've been over their past. I'm just saying that when you're doing the vetting system, of a woman and you're looking for her to be the one for you, you're gonna have that conversation, and an in-depth conversation, and you're gonna know when you see crazy coming, you cross the street. Now, if crazy is not in front of you, you're gonna have that decent conversation. You're gonna show her your life. You're gonna show her what you have to offer. You're gonna listen to her, and you're gonna see where she's coming from, and you're gonna have a conversation with a woman that's sane. But when a woman is broken, you can't fix broken. You ain't trained for it. She's got to seek the help of a professional.
But you
And
can't
I'm
speak
saying
for
if
yourself.
two people are healed, they come together and they build. Period. Now, if I know you have some psychological problem or you got some things you're trying to get over, I am not bringing you into a peaceful feng shui world. It just won't work because I have no time for it in this modern day life when bills matter and life matters. That's all I'm saying. Don't get with somebody if you're looking to fix them. If they're healed and you're healed, come together, you build, you grow, and you excel. That's all I'm saying. But to say that you're not going to have that vetted conversation of a woman that's mature and you're going to explain your life to her and you're going to show her what you're about, that's all part of the vetting process. That's all part of the communication problem. And if you see that she has a couple of marbles that off, or she sees something that she doesn't like in you, that's the time to have that conversation. But if she's already coming in broken and you're healed, you're butting heads. You're butting heads. That's all I'm saying.
What you got, Brandon? And then over to you, Roland. I ain't forgot about you either, Chris.
Yeah, I'm just processing all of it. I wasn't referring to a completely dysfunctional need professional therapy, but everyone has blind spots in their own lives, and they don't. When we're not aware of something, it's just then we're set at normal. So let's for a plain example, let's talk about a abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. Well, in some people's lives, they may have an abundance mindset to generate wealth, but because of their upbringing, they may be hoarders, and they think by hoarding, they're actually operating in abundance. They're making sure they have enough, but they don't realize if I don't let go of some of this stuff, I don't have room for more new, more happiness. Everyone has blind spots. I mean, if I'm the same man I am today at 43 that I was at 33, then I have a problem. And if I don't realize I have a problem, it becomes a bigger problem. You know, yes, you got to have a baseline of, okay, some mental soundness, some financial soundness, some health soundness, but everyone has areas that they're improving upon. I'm not talking about schizophrenia. I'm not talking about, extreme PTSD. I'm not talking about, chronic or severe issues, but everyone has blind spots.
Give me a
Everybody
blind
has
spot.
things they need to improve on.
Give me a
And
blind
so,
spot. You guys are talking. Give me
Keep going. I don't want to sidetrack.
okay, so a blind spot could be, okay, my wife is a lot neater than I am. She sees something, immediately puts it in order. I may not because it doesn't bother me in the moment. But then, okay, if the doorbell rings, I'm completely aware I need to tidy up this area around the front door. It's not that I'm a dirtbag, it's not that I'm a bum, but I just became conscious of something that's out of order in that moment. Every person has spots like that in their life. They have something that is no big deal until the environment changes, and then it becomes a big deal. So yeah, I wasn't going to the extreme of totally broken people who need to, and I don't say it to degrade them or demean them, but I'm not talking about people who need a clinical licensed therapist. I'm not talking about people who need to see a psychiatrist. I'm just talking about day-to-day growth, maturity, understanding, awareness. And and whenever two people meet, they always put their best face forward. If they're looking to move forward in a relationship, if they're looking to move forward in something. If I'm going to the bank to get a loan, I'm not going acting like I don't need any money. I'm going in a way to let them know, hey, you can trust me. I'm reliable. Here's my credit score. I need a loan. But I'm not going to show up like a bum. I'm not going to show up like I'm going to put my best foot forward. If I was going to a job interview, I wouldn't show up like I don't need this job. I don't want this job. Everybody has blind spots, and we have to make allowances for those so we can help each other mature in those areas. So that was just my point. But Antoine, the example you were talking about, a completely broken person, I agree with you 100%. But when it comes to just general everyday people, everybody has blind spots that they need to mature in.
And I agree with that. Those are the things you have a discussion. I mean, I wouldn't call being messy a big deal. I mean, like, listen, when I had my ex, man, listen, I already knew half the bathroom was makeup and purse and all that. I was already like, okay. But then after, when it started to cross over my little shaving section, I was like, okay, listen, I gave you 3/4, give me my little quarter. I mean, that was an easy fix. I understand the little minuscule things, I'm talking about, and you're right. I was talking about, like, why would you get with a woman that's like, if she's a slob, first of all, you ain't moving her in. I mean, why would you move her in, right? I mean, first of all, you'd have that discussion. Like, listen, if you don't know where the garbage can is in your own home, what makes you think you're going to find it in mine? These are discussions you would have. Like a normal conversation you would have. Now, if she keeps doing it, listen, once, twice, 3 times, show her the door. Next, because you're not going to fix that, because that's the way she is. That's the way she's molded. I'm coming from that point of view. If I know I have A, B, and C together, I know I got this and I got that. I'm gonna look for the things that complement me, and the things that I do complement you. Those are things you have a good discussion. I'm not saying, that when I was talking about is the extreme of you guys talking like this woman, you're gonna come in and fix her. Fix what? I mean, she's not healed. Where are you coming from here? Now, if you're talking about dishes, talking about how much space you take, what you want, how you operate, how you function in your own home. Now we're talking. Now it's like, okay, so she's past the vetting stage of being in your life. That's what and now you're talking different. Now you're talking about she's already past the vetting stage of being in your life. So you have to come together, common ground, find out the A, B's, and C's. You have the man cave. She has the kitchen, the living room, the dining room, everywhere else in the house. You just have a man cave in the garage. Okay, I'm cool with that. Those are things we discuss.
What you got, Roland?
Oh, shoot, that was long. When it comes to, y'all call them blind spots, people call them red flags and all these things, I think there's a level of maturity that has to be expected from each partner. Nobody's perfect on either side. And I think one thing, like one red flag, I can't speak from a premise of I have it all together when I know I don't. And then when I'm exposed, it's somebody say, hey, your slip showing, I gotta be able to accept that. So like, and this ain't a shot at you, Antoine, but when you told the young lady to shut the what up, a man that gets emotional off a talk is
Lord,
showing female traits.
Emotional shit.
It's showing female traits. It is. You got emotional because she
so what
said
about getting emotional?
word.
What's the big deal? Why are you guys so stuck on emotion? Like, you can't get
Because
emotional.
you are getting emotional when we're having a conversation.
Oh, Jesus, Howard.
Too many boys holding this emotion.
Jesus,
It's a
Howard Christ.
conversation, but what you do is you go here instead of keeping it here.
Who cares if you go here? You're allowed to be expressive. Why does it have to be contained in a box? Like, if someone is, that's the problem with people. That's the problem with people. They show you. That's the problem with people. They're not straight with you on it.
Antoine, the reason why it's important to stay level-headed about things like this is because we're trying to show and display what men should be. There's a time and place to be emotional. You know what I mean? I'm not
according to you guys.
At the same time, I don't think if we're on this show, if we created this podcast, we created this show to show men how to be, then I think that we should be on display at all time and showing men how to be. We talked about managing emotions a few weeks ago. We don't nobody up here has any problem with people expressing their emotion. What we're saying
is the way I want to express it.
Here's why it's so important. There's a time and place for it. Because if the emotions are not handled properly, people get offended, people get hurt, and then the communication no longer becomes clear. You know what I mean? And then your message won't always get through because people are now in their feelings about something that may or may not have been said. So I get it. At the same time, here's what I'm going to speak to on this whole thing as far as what men, as far as taking care of a woman and doing all these things. I don't think, this is me personally, I do not think that a man who has started building himself up and is successful and has created a nest for a woman to come in. I do not think that this man should go out and choose a woman who is not healed. That's what I personally believe. I think there's different things like cracks or blind spots. Those are acceptable. You know what I mean? But if she is not healed, I don't think that they should get married. You know what I mean? It's because
Exactly.
she's not healed. Who knows how long it's going to take her to get healed? What if she never heals? You need a woman who is healed because she may be taking care of your kids. You know what I mean? So my thing is, yes, before you marry somebody, both people should be healed. That's me. That's what I believe. I have no problem with what Cam said either. If he wants to take a woman, build her up, give back to his community, and take on a woman, I have no problem with it. I'm not doing it. I wouldn't tell my sons to do it. This is me, and I think it's okay that we have different opinions, make different choices. That's fine. We don't have to agree. I don't have to agree with Cam. You know what I mean? Y'all don't agree about how y'all choose y'all woman and what y'all should do when y'all pick women. Fine. Ain't no problem with that. So that's my 2 cents. I just think at the end of the day, I would tell my sons to not pick a woman who is not healed. I think she should go and get herself healed, and then she come to the relationship. I think only relationships work when you have 2 people healed. I'm not saying they don't work if they're not, but like I said, you can have some problems, you can have some issues, but you should be healed. You shouldn't be broken. You know what I mean?
And I would tell my son also, be a man before you act like one. That's what I would tell him straight up. Be a man before you act like one. Be one.
You can only have the relationship that you can afford. And they don't have nothing to do with money.
But you can still be a man before you act like one. Like really build yourself up to be a man. Do what you need to do to make your foundation solid. All right. So you can call the shots, you can make the shots, you can provide, you can be the leader, you can do all that stuff. But at least be the man first before you go into moving in together, or you start building together with somebody, you start collaborating. No, have your own stuff, have your own thing together, have everything you need together. And I'm not saying you're perfect. You're not perfect. You'll never be perfect. Life is always evolving. Things are always changing. But don't go into anything trying to fix anything. Why would you waste that time trying to fix something? No. What Brandon was talking about, totally agree. What Brandon said about the whole mess, this and that comes together in a conversation.
You got Brandon and Chris? Yeah. I haven't heard from y'all in a while. Well, Chris.
Yeah, like this.
Chris, what you got over there?
Oh man. I don't have a dog in any of these fights. I don't. I have yet to be in a relationship that was productive. I have yet to see a relationship that wasn't a power struggle between 2 people instead of 2 people working cohesively for something bigger than them. I'm just listening. I do think, however, how about this? How about we go back to the original topic? What pisses men off? Stifling communication and invalidating people's experiences. That pisses men off. That pisses men off. There are a bunch of people on this panel that have lived different experiences, that have done different things different ways, and it's worked out for them. A good majority of them share those experiences, and since one person or a handful of people haven't seen that one experience, it doesn't exist. Or they get shunned for it. They get down talked for it. They get over talked for it. Most of the time when you interrupt somebody when they're trying to form a coherent thought, is not winning the argument. It's stifling communication, and it's not wanting that person to even talk to you. You're not winning the argument. You're stopping all communication whatsoever. You can't listen and talk at the same time. And I'm going to just leave it at that.
Boy.
Go back.
I got a question for Chris.
Go ahead, man. And then back to you, Rolling. I know you was about to say something. I might have cut you off. I apologize if I did.
So what's up, Mr. Jeter?
So Chris, with invalidating others' experience, can you elaborate more on that? I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying.
Say, for instance, I say I'm a product of a single mom home. 10 years ago, I just figured out what it was to be a man. And now I'm consistently learning what it is to be a man. And I'm unlearning everything that I was taught. There could be a product of a 2-parent home that'll say, your experience isn't valid because that's not what I lived and what I saw every day. And I could say the same thing about them. Your experience isn't valid because I didn't see 2 people in the same home working cohesively to build something bigger than them. You understand what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
It's
Okay.
not, it's, to me, communication starts with, a lot of you know, I read a lot of Jordan Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
In his 12 rules of life, one of his rules is always talk to people like there's something that you can learn from them, no matter who it is. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has blind spots. Everybody has pitfalls. Everybody has shit that people don't want to tolerate. Question is the person that you with worth you not tolerating that? Or is the person that you with open enough to actually listen to you and say, hey, this is pissing me off and I really need you to chill out. I really need you to fix this because if you don't fix this, we have a problem. I completely agree with Antoine. If she's not doing what you have requested of her to do to fix what's wrong, yes, leave her. But if she's making the effort and she falls, give her a shot because she's at least making the effort. You understand what I'm saying? Communication starts with 2 people with an open mind that actually want to listen to each other. For real. Nobody is always right. Nobody. And I'm going to just leave it at that.
I appreciate that.
All
That
things
was
are
crystal
true.
clear.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. But I don't think you should invite anybody into your life that's going to slow you down.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. However, Antoine, and I need you to let me say this, and I need you to let me say this uninterrupted. When you get into a relationship with a woman, or when you even talk about dating a woman, or even when you look at a woman, she's showing you her representative. She doesn't really show you who she truly is until she gets comfortable. And when she gets comfortable and you start seeing all of those things, like, just like when you get comfortable, she starts seeing all of the things that she didn't like. That's when the communication and the conversation needs to be had. Hey, you doing this, you need to chill out. Okay, you doing this, you need to chill out. And it's not a tit for tat, you did this but what you did was worse type thing. It's a, okay, we're trying to build something bigger than what it is that we have right now, and we're trying to do something bigger than us. It's not about me running shit. It's about me understanding that in order to protect you, I have to have an open line of communication with you, and I have to build that trust in you so that way you know you have an open line of communication with me, and we can build something bigger than us. I don't tell you what to do. I don't run you. I'm not your dad. I'm the person that's supposed to be responsible for you after he gives you to me. In order for me to do that, there are things that I need. And in order for me to put in your mind that you want me to do that, there are things that you need.
And that starts from a healed person, not a broken one.
We know. We already talked about everything we're talking about. You're the only person that's focused on the broken people. We ain't talking
because in the beginning, the way you guys were talking is like you want to.
And I'm gonna be completely real with you. I'm gonna be completely real with you. I'm gonna be completely real with you. I would, Uncle Junior, I would love to have a group. I would love to have a group conversation where we quit using buzzwords. Healed is a buzzword now. Everybody says that all over the internet. It's everywhere. For male is a buzzword. High value man is a buzzword. Let's actually focus on what's real and quit using these social media buzzwords. That's what's really stifling communication, because everybody can say their own version of what healed is. No, this is what I need from you. Can you give it to me? Tell me what you need from me so that way I can determine whether or not I'm the person that can give it to you. Can we do that? Fuck the buzzwords.
What you got over there rolling down the street?
I was
Smoking
just sitting back
and down.
Sipping on no. I was just enjoying the conversation, man. Because I think it got a little, but that's what men do. Men, when we talk, it's gonna be a back and forth, no matter what. So that's understandable. If you ain't a man, if you're a man, you should understand that. So it's nothing against anybody on the panel, and I agree with a lot of what Antoine said, because I think that you shouldn't go into a relationship already failing. And that's what you're asking for when you do something like that. You asking for it to fail. I also think that sometimes, and I can only talk about the man in the mirror, where I will have all the answers, but I won't put the best foot forward in that. So sometimes I go into it, I got the representative, oh, I'm doing flowers, I'm doing candy, I'm opening doors and all this other stuff. And I think the other person doing the same thing. So when you come together and then you sit down, you got to be able to say, okay, am I willing to have this communication with this person where I can find out all the things that she swept under the rug, and she can find out all mine, so that we can deal with this and move forward. And I read a book a few years ago, Crucial Conversations. And when you have those crucial conversations and you realize, man, not that other person is jacked up, but I still got some things to work on, so I can work on me. And if I'm constantly working on me, it'll be a better week. It'll be a better team, because at the end of the day, it's not that, because most women out there now, they got all their stuff together. That's why you see more men living with women in their houses than you see women living in men's houses. It's the twos and fews. But when you see, oh, she put me out and all this other stuff, because he moved into her house because he didn't necessarily have all this stuff together. And that's why we have to be a group of people who build ourselves up to where we all have our stuff together. Not that I don't need you. I want you in my life. You don't need me. But when we come together, it's a team effort, and we lead as a team. We don't lead where my rule is last thing said. No, because you may not pay the bills on time. You may hoard money. You may do whatever it is that I dislike. So we got to come together and work as a team so that we can move as a team.
I agree with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mr. G.
That's why I said, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I can yield the floor to Chris.
Okay.
Mr. Rowland, that's why I said it's not about me. It's about us. It's supposed to be about us. It's not my way or the highway. It's not, I'm going to move you into my house because I see you doing this. It's, what can we do collectively for something bigger than us? I completely agree with you, Roland. And yes, there are men that move in with women. That is a thing. I know it is. I've seen it. However, those are those are not the men that we are referring to. We are referring to the men that actually understand what it is and what they're supposed to do to build something bigger than them, and to understand that in order to do that, they need somebody else, because I can't do it alone. We were not meant to do it alone. We were meant to do it with each other. And that's not me speaking from you. I've seen it. I'm telling you, I've seen it.
If you move in with a woman, you deserve whatever you get.
And I completely agree with you. But I've seen it. However, wait a minute. However, I've also seen men move in with women. That man get his shit together, and that man move everybody out. I've seen it from both sides. You understand what I'm saying? All things are true. Isn't that what we say here?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Speaking of buzzwords, if you want to use this as a buzzword, I don't necessarily subscribe to the term partnership with marriage. I'm in a marriage. I'm not in a partnership.
Exactly. I was going to say something about that.
I'm in a partnership with that woman downstairs. I'm in a marriage. And I think sometimes when we use that term partnership, it kind of dilutes what marriage is. You're saying that marriage is this, but everything else, your partnership over here, your partnership over there. Me and Vic, we cool, we boys. We a partnership right now. All of us on here, we have a partnership. That's different than a marriage. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. Like somebody said, I'm stepping on toes. It's absolutely true.
I completely get it. It's not a 50-50 thing. It's not a 50-50 I do half and you do half thing. It's a I'm the man. I'm responsible for everybody. Your valued counsel. I'm going to listen to you when you talk, but ultimately the decision rests on my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
We're not
Especially if you
partners when it
take all
comes
the
to that.
blame. Especially if you
Exactly.
take all the blame.
We're not partners. No, if that's the case, we may as well sign this off and be roommates.
It's a marriage with clearly defined roles.
Yep.
She has her role. I have my role. There are certain things that she can and can't do with her body. There are certain things I can and can't do with my body. I don't agree with 50%. I'm bringing 100% to the table.
Yes.
And I want my wife to bring 100% too. I want her to
Yes.
bring 100% of who she is and what her role is, because I'm going to bring 100% in what my role is. And I think that's where a marriage is. And like I said, it's totally separate from a partnership. So I take offense on the low level when I hear married people say, "Oh yeah, that's my partner over here." Hey, it is what it is. But I'm just saying, it's just me. I don't look at my wife as my partner. I look at her as my wife, and we have a marriage.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
So I can go on.
and that's the partnership piece. I think people throw that in there lightly. I think that's kind of a buzzword too, to try to bring some, you know what I'm saying, some level of comparison to, and it's really just an unhealthy competition, because when you bring a partnership and then you disagree with it, somebody's going to say, well, I feel like it's like this, and they speaking from feelings, where another person may be speaking from another set of data that actually is rooted in experience. I think one of the major languages in a relationship that men understand that create better environments for trust is active participation. Like, what pisses men off is for to be in a situation where somebody says explain your day, and then if you tell them every single thing that went on in the day, then you get questioned about the thing that you did, the decision that you made, the person you had to talk to, the stupid details that seem stupid to us. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I go back to what I said earlier, intellectual disregard. Because if I'm capable of being your husband and, you know, protection, providing all these other things, and then I'm telling you the details of my day, and you question, if it comes off as accusatory or something that does anything but validate what your intent was that day and what you were trying to accomplish, you know, that part right there can put you like, are you questioning my judgment? You know what I'm saying? Well, why are you questioning me? You know what I'm saying? There's a whole another conversation that comes off of accusatory language. You know what I'm saying? Bad body language. The other thing is too, assuming something negative is gonna happen before something positive. Man, look, complaints. Have you ever worked somewhere where everybody complains?
Mhm.
Somebody eventually gets to fighting. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be some, because that complaining energy has never built anything but resentment. I have never seen anybody construct nothing out of complaints but TV shows like Maury Povich.
That's my TV.
You know, like, when you think about complaints, think about the energy that goes with complaining. It's not problem solving energy. It's just identifying and regurgitating and recycling the same trauma and insecurity over and over again. It's a ball of words just tied up. You know what I'm saying? And none of them mean you any good. They should be used as barometers. You know what I'm saying? To see how far left and right your boundaries are. But complaints are useless. So if you find yourself unsupported in a relationship, man or woman, if you're listening to this, start with what's the complaint. Look at the degree of the complaint, where the complaint occurs, the frequency of it, and see how it fits 5 to 10 years from now. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody make, like say for instance, like say Brandon, you married. You said you occasionally get sidetracked and got to go do some stuff and you leave some stuff undone, and not because you're a slob, nothing like that. It's just that you got other priorities. And in the meantime, when you're off your priority, you're doing some things to try to actively participate in the household, right? And then when duty calls, you got to break away and somebody come in and pick up the slack. The same thing is for us. If we have them to do something, or we expect them to do something and they can't do it or be present for it, our active participation creates reassurance and trust. There's levels to this. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm saying all of this to say the language that we all need to learn is participation. And I'm saying that for myself too, because there's some things that they want our participation in that gives them greater reassurance, that makes them want to invest their time more with us. And we're just not like if you're in a working household where both of y'all got jobs, eventually y'all start complaining about and competing about who's more tired when you come home. And that's an indication that if you're a man and you have the resources to change the direction to ensure the quality of life of your household and everyone is under the roof, you have to make a leadership decision, a sacrifice sometimes, to go into a lane where it requires you to be able to blaze a trail. And if you're in that situation where you and your mate can see the cycle of things just keep coming back, and you still keep working through them, who is going to have the immediate responsibility to change course and live with the decision that's being made and lead? And I guarantee you, if you let the woman make that decision, you will not be respected going forward. You will be another son. Good, bad, and different.
And I say the same thing for Vic. And Vic, I say the same thing for men. I always tell my friend's happy. He's happy. He said he's content making 60K. I'm like, dude, what world are you living in? It's called inflation. Men always have to keep on thriving. They always have to keep on building. They always have to keep on reaching higher and higher and higher to be the providers. Because you can't as men, we don't have the luxury of getting comfortable. We don't. We're men. We have to build. We have to gather. We have to hunt. So when he told me he was comfortable and that's all he wants to do, I'm like, bro, you better think of the future. Because you know what? Inflation happens. Things happen. You need a cushion. You always have, especially if you have a family, because you don't know what's coming. So as men, we always have to try to build, try to step it up, try to do something. We don't have the luxury of sleeping in when the weather's bad outside. I wish we did, but we don't. We got to get up and go to work. You know what? For us to be sick, we have to be either bedridden or not moving, because we have to keep on moving forward. 60K ain't gonna cut it in 5 years.
I think one of the things that it pissed me off, it's gonna be the last one, and then we're gonna jump into the final thoughts. Roland, I'm gonna start with you with the final thoughts tonight. But one of the things that pissed me off is I'm having a conversation and people's body language. And they roll their eyes or do some kind of movement, and it's like immediately, it's like
body language.
Like why? Like why? Especially like, and then like, I mean, this goes from little kids all the way up to grown adults. You say something, and their body language is just like, man, especially like you got kids, you know what I'm talking about. Them jokers that do something. Man, and next time you know you're ready to jump on them. You know, not literally, but you know what I'm saying. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Those are one of the things I had written down as far as one of the things that pissed me off. But we're gonna go around the horn, check the private chat, gentlemen, for the order. We're gonna start with Roland.
Private chat.
Final thoughts. I think it's been a fruitful conversation where a lot of things came out about what pisses men off. And I think one thing that should piss every man off is men not stepping up being the men not actually doing their part because of their focus or lack thereof. Because what I'm focused on is bettering myself so that I can be that man, so that somebody can emulate me, because I can't lead a family, I can't lead my children, I can't lead a community when I'm not doing my part. So I think that what pisses me off is men not being men.
Oh, I'm next. You know, like I thrive on being a communicator. I let you know exactly everything at the time you need to know it. And as a communicator, I make sure every day I'm thriving to be a better person, physically, mentally, emotionally. I got my shit together, and I know, and I don't need confirmation from no woman to tell me I got my shit together. That's why I keep saying men need to be in that position, put themselves in that position. Don't ever get comfortable. There's never enough money. There's never enough complacency. No, keep thriving, keep going, keep moving so you can provide for what you need and you're not stressed out about the things that happen called life. You know, the bills are always going to be there. Mortgage is always going to be there. Taxes is always going to be there. The sun's going to come up tomorrow. Those are things that's called life. When you say you're trying to work on yourself and do this, man, you should be already working on yourself. You work on yourself every day as you progress. I want to put myself in the best position that when he comes into my life to give me more business, I'm able to expand with that person. And when she comes into my life to build me up and to give me that little boost up, I'm able to give her the life she wants. Because she will come first in my personal life, never in my professional life, because I don't need her there. What I needed to do is in my personal life, and I want to give her the best life possible. And if she has something she wants to grow, cultivate, move, build, I don't know, Tupperware, whatever she wants to do, I'm able to say, okay, let's do it. I'm there. Here you go. And I think men need to be a man before you be a man first. Don't act like one. Make sure you're one. That's all I'm saying. And if she's broken or she has anything that will slow you down in your progress, don't be with her, because you ain't fixing her. And if she's really sick, cross the street and go move on to the other side, because there's nothing you can do for somebody like that. There's nothing. You're no psychologist. If she's beyond what you can do, don't try to fix it.
That's on me. I'm not going to speak from the relationship standpoint because we've beat that into the ground. I'm going to speak from the men have an emotion standpoint. The men are pissed off. The men are pissed off because we've been told for a long time that we're not allowed to be pissed off. You know what happens when you boil a pot of water and you cover it? The lid blows off. You are now witnessing the lid blowing off. This is why you're starting to see so many people, so many men talk about all of these things that are happening nowadays, and men are getting the pushback that they're getting from the people that are defending what's going on. Men, it is okay to be pissed off, but you cannot allow that emotion to determine your action. You have to process that emotion and think, what positively can you do to not feel that emotion again? It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be pissed off. Just don't dwell in it and don't allow it to move you. Not in the fashion that it has been for so long. We got to start thinking. I'm going to just end it with that.
You ready? So, what pisses men off? I would say the things that men are pissed off about are the things that women have inherently been pissed off about too, but for markedly different reasons and markedly different impacts. The impacts that men experience from being disregarded are, concurrent with what Chris was saying about, the top blowing off. But we also have to understand that not everybody is blowing up for the same reasons. Some people come here with whatever intent that they have to put their personal spin. All of us are communicating from a personal experience or some level of understanding that allows us to participate in the conversation. But it's key to make sure that the target of your disagreement is not a malicious one. It's not coming from a place where it's an unhealthy competition. There's a difference between comparing for understanding and competing for dominance. And if you come in with the right resources, the right status, the right situation, nobody's going to compete with you. They're going to try to get a better gauge of your understanding, but it's on you to be able to set conditions to allow them to digest what you're saying, apply it, and then change their behavior to make sure that they don't get out of bounds with you. And you should be doing the same thing with them. It's an exchange of understanding, because we at this point have spent an exorbitant amount of time away from that individual. So like if you got married at 40, it took you 40 years to meet somebody to marry. You know what I'm saying? So you got to learn how to deal with that individual, not even deal with them, but learn how to nurture that other individual the best way possible. It's about what you bring, because you have to bring assurances, you have to bring reassurance, and you have to bring consistency. All of that is part of the formula. So if you got patterns in your life that keep coming back to the same spot where you end up in the same outcome with the same results, it's probably you, and you're the ingredient. So internally, everything that pisses you off is still your responsibility on how to articulate it.
All right. Hold on. What happened here? Okay. All right. Um, so this has been a great experience just to hear other men talk freely, openly, and to express so many perspectives on life. And being a man is serious business. And I just want to encourage everyone to become what we call it in my profession, an active listener. Um, Most people enter conversations and they listen to respond instead of listening to reflect and to better understand. I serve as a personal growth coach along with professional development trainer, and I have a company called the BSI Group, and so I love to serve people and organizations to help them make the 1 degree difference in their life. This has been a great experience. Learned so much from everyone in this group, and just encourage you to keep growing. Don't become goal oriented. Stay growth oriented, because we can never outgrow ourselves. We keep growing until to the day we transition out of this life. There's the older I've gotten, and I'm not old. The older I've gotten, the more I've learned that I don't know, and so I keep pursuing knowledge, understanding, wisdom, so that I can help the next generation become the best version of themselves. Thanks.
You know what? Here's what I want to say. What what people saw today on display was 6, 7. I mean, 1, 2. What people saw today was different men from different backgrounds, sharing their thoughts, sharing their experiences. You saw emotion today. You saw a bunch of different things today, and that's what this platform is about. You know, we have different men. No two men are the same. There are different types of men. Every man up here is different, and every man up here comes with a different set of experiences in their life. And what we want to do is to continue to have elevated dialogue. And when we say elevated dialogue, conversations at times will get elevated, and that's okay. Sometimes men do communicate in those ways. But look at the end of the day, look at how everything came back together and we were able to continue and go on with the conversation. So yes, things may have been what they were, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? I don't think at the end of the day, ain't nobody's feelings hurt. Ain't nobody getting no tires cut, and ain't nobody blocking nobody on Facebook or YouTube. So it is what it is what it is, and for the most part, that's my final thoughts. Anybody have anybody have anything else to say before we roll out? Y'all good?
I think that people looking on the outside have to also think that when men are passionate about something, it's not going to come across as a kumbaya session all the time. We going to talk loud. We going to, that's just what we do. And I think people have to understand that that's part of being a man.
Yeah. And I agree with that. Like for me, I'm very passionate about the things I believe in. Very. And when I hear, people say they're men, but yet they're talking like they're questioning that. And I'm like, dude, don't question your manhood. You're a man. It's okay. Speak like one. You're allowed to be passionate. I didn't come up from this whole you know, you can't show emotion, you can't, or you're a simp and male and ego. I didn't come up with all of that. I wasn't raised with all of that, right? For me, I was raised with, you're a man, this is how you conduct yourself, this is how you, and everybody has their own experience. So I get that. But when I speak and I come from a passionate place of how I'm speaking, really don't care about emotions or this or that. You have to contain. No, too many people are containing what they feel, think, and that's what's now getting expressed. And it's called a simp or emotion. No, let the man talk. Let him be who he wants to be and express it how he wants to express it. You can't dictate for him. And that's all I'm saying. And I think every man should be working hard every day to become the best version of himself, so the pickings are a lot better and you're able to do what you need to do as a man. That's all I'm saying. Like, you can't complain about the things that are called, it's called life. Bills are called life. Stress is called life. You're always going to be evolving. You're always going to be working on yourself. It's called life. That's all.
Gotcha. Hey, thank you all for joining in. Thank you to all the panel members today: Antoine, Roland, Brandon, Vic, Chris, and Cam. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for everybody who's been in the chat, who's been in the comments. Thank you for everything. Thank you for everybody who's watched today, supported the show. Thank you for hitting the like button, all of those different things like that. We'll be back here next week, same time, same place, 7 o'clock Wednesdays at Eastern Standard Time. And we are out, folks.